3 years ago, back when Team Spirit was just a little underdog, they made a long lower bracket run to win the International. That started with them in the upper bracket losing to Invictus Gaming. They were put in the lower bracket, and in fact, Invictus Gaming met Spirit again in the lower bracket, and Team Spirit eliminated IG with a 2-0. 3 years later, this is the first time that they have met again at the International, and it's a chance for JT and Super to be able to have their revenge, to eliminate Team Spirit back at the TI.
It's going to be a tall order. I mean, they said they're not afraid of the two-time champs, but I think a lot of people would be in this situation. This is a scary lower bracket. Like, there are a lot of strong teams here. It's going to be a bloodbath no matter what. And to me, this could be a very pivotal match for the rest of how this bracket develops, because I could see either of these teams go very deep if they start to gain some really good momentum here. And especially if you're looking at Spirit, who had a much better start to this tournament than G2.iG, who, I mean, the records speak for themselves, right? Team Spirit were 6-0 going into that upper bracket match before Nouns took them down. G2.iG were a lot more hit or miss in terms of what was working for them and finding that momentum in this tournament. So this is going to be a really important game one and a really important series to determine who's going to have to face one of these teams later on if they make it past XG.
Yeah, G2.iG have not looked great at this tournament until maybe that second game against Gaming Gladiators. I was surprised. I thought that was going to be a 2-0, but Gaming Gladiators slipped up in that one. G2.iG did manage to take that game too. Did that give you a bit of hope that G2.iG was going to come into this lower bracket with a bit more fire than they showed in the group stage?
I do think they've looked better than their record shows in a way. Like, they haven't really been rolled over in any of the games. They've shown a decent amount of draft flexibility. It seems like their meta understanding is getting a little better each series they play. I think that game in series was pretty close, but it's a tough matchup for them because G2.iG is just not as fast on the lanes. It's not their strength, right? They play more of the traditional Chinese Dota, which is like the mid-game, the late-game team fighting, Roshan control, things like this, scaling up with a slower carry than a lot of the European players have. You're just not going to compare Monet to players like Dyrachyo or Mickey, right? It's not the same wheelhouse at all. And so for him to get a hero like Luna, I think is super important for them, because Luna is one of those heroes that, as we've seen this tournament develop, can not only give you a strong lane phase, play fast that early game, but can also just hyper farm up and play the late game really well and scale tremendously. So I think this is a great hero for Monet to be on in a game one in a series like this. And it's a hero, as the panel talked about, that was a bane for Team Spirit in that Nouns 2-0 defeat. They just could not break this hero. It really caused them problems. And I was curious to see how they were going to adjust their draft going into this series compared to that one, particularly for this man, Radon. I think he maybe not struggled in that series versus Nouns, but it felt like there was a lot of pressure on him in those games to deliver a lot in the team fights, particularly the game like the Lena, where he was just getting doomed and things of that nature. This is a lineup where they relieve some of that pressure with an Invoker semi-carry, a Mars who can pick up some of the damage slack. I think this looks a bit more comfortable for him.
And another player who's going to have a very different series compared to that one is Mira, right? Like, I think a fair number of people pointed out the Tinker repeat in that series, and just a general question of whether or not Team Spirit want to be playing such a passive defensive hero in that regard for Mira, right? I mean, this guy's a shot caller and a playmaker, and it definitely felt like Team Spirit were missing that bit in their lineup. And now that he's on a Dark Willow, perhaps Team Spirits will look a little bit more comfortable. This lanes have been pretty even. Nice use of the Drunken Buddies to make sure he gets away from that last couple of stomps there from JT. That could have been first blood. That is still on the table.
I think it does say something that Spirit went away from that Tinker. It didn't seem like a very comfortable hero for them. And when you're in these elimination games, as we are here, I mean, comfort adds up to a lot. Maybe you're deeper in this bracket, you can start to experiment a bit more, but this is like, let's just play our best Dota. Let's not worry about what the meta's doing too much or what the enemy team's going to do. And I think both these drafts reflect it. I think Super touched on it as well. Like this Primal, I don't think Primal's some crazy broken hero here, but it is definitely in G2.iG's wheelhouse for both their core players at NTS and JT. Like, both these guys are really good Primal players. It's been a very successful hero for a lot of the Chinese teams overall, and even historically. And I think this hero can do a lot of work in the current meta. It's a gap closer, it can get on top of these ranged carries, and it can just pierce you through the BKB. It's a huge damage threat. Could also see this Ags come on later. You can get some of the break mechanics going into the Mars. Used to be a counter in that regard. There's not a lot of BKB control in this Spirit lineup. Could be something that comes back to haunt them in the later team fights if you get a good BKB timing here between Primal, Luna, maybe Void Spirit wants it, but NTS could also just go, you know, Manta Linken's type route, boost up the universal stats. It's a scary G2.iG lineup in the late game, man. Like, you cannot underrate these three cores together with the amount of stats they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that that's a nice combination, to be able to have a strong BKB mid-game and then feel confident about your scaling late game. Because I know you're a big fan of the Void Spirit going late. We've seen tons of Primal Beasts from the previous patch where the Heart Blade Mail was all meta. It felt like this hero just did not fall off. The game just kept going later, and it felt like he just kept getting stronger with his Aghanim Scepter timing. Man, the Drunken Buddies. He is able to pull himself so far away. Now he snowballs Mira out of the danger from G2.iG, and we're back to a tri-lane versus tri-lane, just like last series. Mira does manage to, oh, he doesn't go for it. They pin the Treant, but he is stuck in the middle of the well. They couldn't immediately get some damage on him. Now that he pops back out, Collapse thinks about going for it, but he's not going to be able to get it. Mira, he is not going to survive this situation. Monet is the one to pick up first blood. A great start for the Luna.
These Luna tri-lanes, man, they are very strong. You do not want to mess with them, particularly this Treant Luna tri-lane. We saw it last series as well. This is like some really old school combination that you try and skirmish them early. You're going to run up against this brick wall, and your spells are generally not stronger in the early game. Collapse feeling the pressure.
Yeah, they got the kill on the support at top, and then the other support shows on mid. The three heroes here from G2.iG say, this is free, we can dive. It doesn't turn out to be free, though, as Mira and Laurel counter-rotate and get one pick off and look for a second one in X Nova. Slowed down by the Blood Grenade. He should die to Laurel and his hits. Now, double kill for him. Monet, with the Glaives, though, is getting some decent damage. Nothing to say comes in and tries to equalize the situation as Laurel pushes forward with the Ghost Walk, keeping Monet slowed down. Nothing to say. Didn't keep up with him. Moposhka might be able to take advantage of the shard. It pushed him away. They don't know where he is. He's out of sight. Now they spot him, stuck in the corner. Monet, what a disaster for G2.iG. Maybe Monet had a chance to get out, but the moment he's stuck on that corner, he's done.
Just a huge injection of gold for Laurel as well. Like, picking up a lot of these backside kills, just going to propel him into a really strong early game here. He is top of the level board, top of the net worth chart, and they're going to split the Wisdom Runes. A nice turnaround from Spirit, bringing the numbers to try and relieve the pressure off this Mars that was looking to be really rough for Collapse. I mean, he's not necessarily happy about this exchange as the Mars here, but you'll take what you can get here for your Invoker Mirana.
And Laurel will find another kill to be part of. Boboka is trying to slow it down. The Shards is going to keep him in place. Now the Brambles goes out. X-Nova is only going to survive for so long, though. This gives an opportunity for Nothing to Say to cut in from behind. No punish whatsoever because there's no detection. They try to go for Moposhka instead, but I think they're just lacking in the disables. The Ghost Walk still slowing Nothing to Say down. As Laurel will take advantage of the regen coming his way and be able to stay in lane.
Need the dust for the early Invoker skirmishes. Quas Wex will punish you every time, and these are really important core kills to snag if G2.iG are going to bring all the numbers to that kind of fight. The one missing component in all this has been the Primal. Like, JT not in those early fights, which he's incredibly strong in these exchanges. Now he'll be the recipient of a gank.
Yeah, so much damage. My goodness. JT, the missing ingredient will stay missing.
So it's turning into a very fast early game.
Yeah, Team Spirit are playing with some gusto, man. They got knocked down to the lower bracket, and they do not want a repeat of what happened at TI-11, right? They went from champions to last. They do not want to have that happen again.
This is the kind of pace I think shows some confidence from them and a bit of a change from what did not work in that previous series, which is it was very passive, it was very farm heavy. This is them meeting G2.iG at every point in this early game and securing Radon farm. That's the biggest factor. This Mirana top of the board, top of the CS, and continuing to have kills set up for him.
Back-to-back deaths for JT as he's going to have to walk out to lane. What a great ward placed out.
Oh yeah.
just outside the detection there.
Pure value right there. They're going to be able to go back to this time and time again if it does not get dewarded here. It's going to set up some scouting for these stacks as well that you might be able to contest. But this is just so much information for Laurel to play off of. And this Quasflex Invoker in the early game, if you have good information, you oftentimes can just outmaneuver enemies way too easily.
Especially with the blistering pace that Team Spirit is bringing to this game as another kill. 7 kills in 10 minutes. Team Spirit find another one in the top lane, not letting this Treant Protector just hang around. They don't even try and hit the objective too much. They just punish the heroes.
They are breaking down these lanes fast, and it doesn't feel like there's a good response here from G2.iG. Especially with the Primal going down twice, it eliminates kind of your TP turnaround potential from JT. Opens up more of these dives for Team Spirit. You're the ones with the Invoker who can respond if you try and make an aggressive move on Radon on that bottom lane. Kind of have to go back to this Void Spirit and try and play through NTS, get something done of your own. This is a hero that, in theory, has a good matchup versus Invoker because you have the innate gap close and the setup spell. But what's the follow-up here? That's the big question as we progress into this kind of early mid-game. Let's say your Primal or your Void Spirit goes in, sets up a kill or a theoretical kill on this Invoker or Mirana. Phoenix Treant are not following that up with any sort of speed until at least maybe you have a lot more levels on the Phoenix with Sunray points and max Fire Spirits. They're going to try and make a quick play with the 2 highest damage heroes they have, which is this Phoenix Void Spirit combination. But it does feel like you're going to need a little more on top of this.
Team Spirit, once again, the vision plays a key point. They see nobody's mid, see the rotation heading top, and if those heroes are heading top, it means bottom is free once again. Laurel, he exits out of that top lane, shows up to bottom lane to help Radon get a kill on JT.
Showing the strength of Invoker. Just the constant ability to set up stuff. Don't need a lot of numbers to do it, and he's going to go straight into the Mage Slayer, which is going to be a very obnoxious item for these 2 cores on the side of G2.iG to play into. Honestly, even versus the Luna, it's going to be valuable as this game progresses.
Do you think this means he's just going to be going like straight into a right-click build right away?
Yeah, probably. I mean, you have this Solar Flare to back you up. You have Drinking Buddies. Do you really want to even throw it on this Invoker in random fights? There's a lot to play around with for these 2 cores. And Tier 1 Tower, last hit to Radon. He is, well, Omega fat is one way to put it.
Yeah, he's a big boy. 7,200 net worth. Second place is the Mars at 5,400. This Luna is nowhere close to keep it up. What's going on here? And the way that Luna would usually catch up, one of those ways, right, is stacks. But if you've already taken the offlane tower, and the mid tower's on the chopping block here, you're going to lose control of your triangle, and those ancient stacks are the most valuable real estate you could have.
I feel like you have to defend this tower if you're G2.iG. You have support ults up. These towers are really nice places to fight around with the tree, and the tree's got a little cleared out, but like, you have to make some kind of jump here.
Nothing to say is trying to make something happen here. The problem is the Team Spirit's playing pretty far back. It's hard for the Treant Protector and Phoenix to get in there. Same lack of like mobility. That's a problem with playing with the Primal Beast. Speaking of, JT arrives now, but no action.
I mean, this almost feels worse.
Yeah.
You didn't get a fight out of this tower. The tower's effectively dead. Team Spirit are going to try and make a play elsewhere on the map. They're looking for Monet on that top jungle area, but he is nowhere close. NTS connects again, but this is part of the problem. Like,
yikes.
What is your follow-up on these jumps? It's not too easy.
Nothing to say. Gonna have to burn through those 21 charges.
And now this smoke that went top looking for Monet, it's coming back towards mid. They're going to convert on this tower.
Yep, they get the tower. That smoke also placed a very deep ward at top, so maybe they didn't find the enemy carry like they were looking for, but they've got good vision to go back to later.
I mean, that's how you make a smoke valuable. Even if it misses, you still get some map control.
Yep.
They're even going to look to swing towards bottom. They are really committing to this map movement.
And a haste rune will make it a whole lot easier. And perhaps more profitable if anybody from G2.iG sticks around, but JT is already retreating. And yeah, they're dodging the ganks right now. Nobody's dying in a little bit, but they are huddled around each other. They are playing super defensive right now, and that really only pays off if Team Spirit actually stumble into you, right? But if you're just sitting 5 heroes in one part of the map, surely that means you're being out efficient.
I mean, defensive plays can be an optimal play in Dota. There is something to be said about this G2.iG lineup where if Team Spirit overcommit into the Tree and Phoenix, it could be disaster for them, especially early before you have the big Dispel items up. But Team Spirit, pretty disciplined here, right? Not overextending into that triangle, not biting the bait, and I think they're mostly happy to match this economic game with the lead that Radon has. Like, Luna's a scary hero, but she's scariest when she's ahead of your carry.
Yeah.
And their stacks to back it up. This is kind of the flip. This Piranha's way out ahead. This Gleipnir is done. On top of Yasha almost completed, it's going to be basically done off these stacks. It's going to be a scary team fight when Radon gets active, but they're going to find the opening.
Tornado interrupts some of that, but Miposhka still dies. Now, they take the 1 kill and get out. The EMP is enough zoning. They are not going to be able to, well, maybe they go back into it. The stack is still being cleared here. Threatens the overgrowth, doesn't release it though. X-Nova is able to cancel that in time.
Would have been a huge pickup. Got to take advantage of the lack of dispels while you can in this early game. At least G2.iG gets something aggressive done with this ward that was there for that entire period.
Yeah, they get 2 creeps and 1 hero.
I mean,
not the best, but not the worst.
Ward has lasted the full duration, and that's kind of all they got off it. Early Yules for Collapse, I kind of like it. Some more interrupt for the Primal who goes in. You can waste his Blade Mail duration. Another catch and set up for the Void Spirit, which is the biggest thing here, right?
Yeah. I think getting into this fight looks impossible for the Primal Beast until he has BKB.
It looks really difficult. I mean, this is part of the Dark Willow pick, right?
Yeah.
Just make these 2 initiators' lives miserable until you go ultra late.
Yeah, like how do you get into a fight? How do you charge into a fight when there's brambles on the ground, there's tornadoes flowing around, there's a potential arrow, snowball pickup, and then of course the Yules now for Collapse.
You buy BKB.
You buy BKB and that won't be for a while.
At least JT has recovered a bit of the net worth gap. I was worried about him with that 0-3 start on the lane.
Yeah.
He really got abused by that Mirana Tusk lane, which is no joke. And something G2.iG are going to have to think about, like there's a lot of damage amp in this Team Spirit lineup. Drinking Buddies, Alacrity, plus Solar Flare. Even this Mars is going to be potentially hitting pretty hard in these fights.
See, just Laurel's presence via Ghost Walk is making G2.iG skittish, and not skittish enough, it seems. JT is going to have his charge away canceled. Now he's caught inside the arena. Another victim of the Laurel Invoker, just continuing to hunt around the map, enabling every single play from Spirit.
He has terrorized him.
And now they're high enough net worth on Radon that they can make plays without Laurel. He sets it up with the Gleipnir. Hits out their Solar Flare. Collapse is going to get the pin here in bottom lane, but there's mass TP rotations coming for him. He's going to get bailed out. Nothing to say.
No jump.
He's on the run. Spotted, just a little bit of vision. Somehow that spear doesn't quite pin to anything there, but he has no escape mechanisms left. A lot of heroes came down here to help out Collapse with that kill, but it is well worth it because Nothing to Say was, well, he has continued to stay at the bottom of the net worth. This is a Void Spirit that doesn't seem to be scaling at all, Avery.
It's just too defensive right now on the map. Team Spirit picking them apart.
It just doesn't stop. Like, how does G2.iG do anything in this game when there's just kill after kill every 30 seconds? They're getting hunted down in the side lanes.
Have to combine some heroes right now. Like, you have to create this 2 or 3 man hit squad that you can fire back and try and catch this Invoker on some sort of Sentry Obs trap on the map. Like, that's your best bet. You have to get Laurel off of the map right now. He is absolutely terrorizing you, and there's nowhere safe. It's forcing Monet into these awkward farming patterns. NTS is just going to continue to fall behind.
Yeah, their one trap that's kind of set up is this mid ward that they have with a couple of sentries around it, but Laurel's been playing in the side lane so much, he hasn't stumbled into any of these sentry setups from G2.iG. An arena that misses.
Okay.
And perhaps an opportunity presents itself to G2.iG.
Maybe you could smoke off this if you're G2.iG. Try and get a quick pick off, combine your Void Spirit and your Primal. It looks tough though. Like, these early Yule Scepters for Team Spirit are just super heads up in this game.
JT pushes in the mid lane, tries to disguise this smoke a bit. Will also force a TP into mid.
Well, this is interesting. Spirit lingering towards this Roche, but it's 30 seconds till it changes sides. Otherwise, I think they would just do it. They might have enough damage anyway.
They're going to try. I mean, if they pop Solar Flare, they can probably burst it down. They have to scan on it, or are they willing to go through the gate? That would be a dangerous move, but it would be the best move right now, perhaps, because Roshan is going down. Man, just 20 seconds. That's all it took, thanks to Solar Flare.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
There's a nice window for them to hit, and didn't even get contested on it. That's the kind of area that I think G2.iG would like to fight in. The Primal going into kind of a concave, then you have big AoE spells to back it up.
You know, I think the funniest part about that situation is, too, that the next Roshan, and very likely the Roshan cycle, is going to end up on the Radiant side. So even though they killed it on Dire's side, future Roshans will very likely be on Radiant, which is to the advantage of Team Spirit, obviously, with the outpost.
They're building up a number of advantages right now. And they get to these big Dispel items between the Mirana and the Invoker, who are both going Mantis here. You're going to have another big item on this Mars for the next fight. I mean, man, it's starting to look difficult. See what Team Spirit can do with this Aegis. G2.iG have kind of kept the net worth deficit a little controlled and are working towards their big team fight items. We'll at least split the Tormentors here. We also do have to, you know, continue to put some value on the defensive team fight for G2.iG. If Spirit decided to push into a tier 2, for example, that is something they could set up around and maybe secure a good fight for Monet.
Sure.
It's likely going to have BKB done before then. If you can get the Primals on top of that, then you ignore a lot of the control out of the Spirit line. Again, the BKBs are the best point in this game for G2.iG to turn it around. You ignore the Yule Scepters, you ignore the Dark Willow spells, you ignore a lot of the Invoker control. Arena doesn't matter. But you got to be able to find a big core target during those BKB durations.
Laurel, yet to get touched in this game, 6-0 and 2. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how he scales up. We've seen it once before where Laurel goes this right-click build on Invoker. And it is pretty intimidating that an Invoker can become a right-clicker at, 40, 50 minutes and stand up to some of the strong heroes, particularly with the number of buffs that they're going to be able to provide. Again, the Solar Flare, but also other things, right? You got Tusk Drinking Buddies. You're going to have some other buffs, I'm sure, that are going to be coming in. As unfortunately we have just a little bit of a hiccup here. Hopefully we'll be able to get back into the game quite soon.
Yeah, sometimes time stops for us all, Austin.
Yeah, an opportunity for us to be able to think about the way that G2.iG can come back into the game.
You know, I was looking at these items, and if there's one player I enjoy watching more than almost any in the world,
I know who it is.
It is our good friend Baboka.
Baboka.
Need I even... Austin, let's play the What is Baboka building game. Austin, what do you think Baboka's building in this game? First item on the Phoenix. Can you take
First
a guess?
item on the Phoenix. Please tell me it's not something that does physical damage.
Is it Yules?
Okay.
Is it Pipe? Is it Radiance?
It's Radiance.
Is it Dagon?
It's Radiance, isn't it?
Is it? Actually, it was none of those. It was Hex, Austin. He's going first.
You can't go,
which is actually pretty normal if you think about it.
Okay. Yeah. That meta was actually already set already. So yeah, rushing Hex. Baboka probably saw that Phoenix rushing Hex in the past and just been like, nice. Yeah. Just rush the biggest item you possibly can. Of course, if you don't know what we're talking about, we're kind of referencing Baboka. Maybe some of you guys haven't seen some of his playstyle. He's a madman.
Yeah, check it out.
This guy has some crazy item builds, such as MKB first item. Again, reminder, Baboka is the guy who's playing the 4 position. He's not a core, but he builds like one.
But he thinks he is. That's what's important. And that's the part you can take away with you to your games. Still, I think that's actually one of the differences I've seen in this team. So I feel like Baboka's actually... Somebody sat this guy down and had a talk with him. like, listen, dog, we're going to need some more, utility and control and, normal items out of you.
They just show, literally every other support in the tournament, and they're just like, you see what they build? Solar Crests, Force Staffs, Glimmer Capes. Why can't we have any of those? Why do I have a sniper who's trying to contest me for every bit of farm,
I mean,
building right-click.
You know what happens, right? They sit down, they have a team talk about, what 4 positions are doing in the tournament, what they want Good to do on this team, and then he brings the receipts. He brings the XG games where he's like, look at Q. He's playing Basher Slark. I told you. I was right all along. It's a carry 4 meta.
Mid lane, oh no, caught in the Yule Scepter chain stun. Nice combination from Mira and brings down the enemy mid laner as a result. The Yule's almost immediately paying off. He's had it for a couple minutes, but getting a pick off like that, Yule Scepter really just paying for itself on top of everything else it's going to do later on.
I mean, this is a great lineup for multiple Yules. You have Arrow, you have Invoker spells, you have Spear out of Mars, and you have the Bramble. You Yules anybody on any of these heroes and throw them into any of that control, it just gets chained off that. This is a very strong item in the meta. Once you get multiple iterations of it, New Spirit showing how useful it's been so far as G2.iG are just trying to get to BKBs here, man. It has been a slog on the map, and they are losing space. Losing a little bit of an advantage.
They've got one in the Luna.
Yeah, I mean, they need the Primal. They're going to smoke without it. They have the Mantle on the Void, but, man, this lack of Primal BKB is really going to hurt if you just commit into a straight 5-on-5. It needs to come from Monet in terms of the damage and the teamfight impact, and you have to land a good egg overgrowth here.
Team Spirit are already backing away. If anybody's paying attention, they'll see that Fire Spirits is pushing in the mid lane and nobody's showing on it.
Minute left on the Aegis, maybe dissuading Spirit from engaging on that head-on fight. Especially, you can just farm this Mirana BKB of your own pretty quickly here. Yeah. Continue to push the objectives. Another missed smoke from G2.iG. I don't think any of them have landed this game outside of that one to the triangle that...
where they killed Baposhka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not been a fast game for them.
No, not at all. I think it's been like a solid 20 minutes since they've killed a core hero, by the way.
I would genuinely be interested to see how much damage has even been done to Laurel. I don't know if that's a stat that exists, but like you were saying, he hasn't been touched. He might literally have not been touched this game.
Tempted arrow. Nothing to say. Only has one step to go, and Radon can still chase after him. X-Nova is going to be behind him here. The Sunstrike's going to reveal him. They don't jump after it, though. Pop the Solar Flare because they've got JT. JT does have a BKB. His first usage is going to be like this.
Oh, what an interrupt.
Oh, no! He gets interrupted. He may still be able to make it out of here, but it is not looking good. The BKB is done, and he disables to stop him. He is home free. Barely. I mean, talk about the BKB timing, using your first BKB charge just to stay alive. That's not what G2.iG was hoping that these debuff immunity items can give them.
You're also sitting on this bottled amp damage, so it's... Again, you're hitting these small timings if you're G2.iG, but you're just nowhere close to using them for anything here. This is a nice ward setup. Looking to snag a lone hero on the map, trying to get this bottom lane back out. Collapse doing a little setup of his own. Does have pipe, he's very tanky, but still can suffer to the solo eclipse or chain stun potential.
Got him on the Yules again while the BKB is on cooldown, and a Bramble does land, setting up the arrow. Maposhka waiting to go for the chain stun here. Hits him with a Walrus Punch, and Radon, he can do plenty of damage. He can't get out of the shard. He's surrounded by Brambles. The Tornado will finish him off. They will be able to trade out for a support, but that is the best G2.iG is going to get with this double damage.
Man, Radon waited out that entire Blade Mail duration, and this Primal still can't get out. You need like 4 staffs or something to bail you out of these little control piles.
Yeah.
This has been one of the roughest...
4 staff, you say?
This has been
utility item?
One of the roughest games for JT I've seen in a long time, and I think he is, maybe for me, one of the most important pieces of the puzzle for G2.iG in terms of their games being faster,
yeah,
and the team fights going their way. He's just found absolutely nothing. Your Team Spirit have shut him down completely in the first 26 minutes here.
Well, Team Spirit, they already have plenty of initiation between the Gleipnirs and the Yule Scepters that we're seeing, and Invoker just running around, but they're going to get a little bit more soon with Collapse picking up a Blink. I also love the early gem pickup when you're winning the game like this.
Oh, there it is, Austin. The Hex.
He got it, and he's going to have to watch nothing to say, die in the side lane, but at least they have a Hex.
Is online.
If they could use this Hex...
I mean, you have to start.
Kill Radon.
this is a really strong item. Like, this is not a completely unorthodox Phoenix build.
No, not at all.
I've seen it work, but you have to make it work, right? You can't just like build up this huge expensive item and then not start to use it on the map. That's my concern here. If you don't hex anybody for the next 10 minutes, is it going to feel that great? You just let Radon get to BKB here. He did beat the record though, so that's pretty good.
Hey, good for him.
And
I mean, how many of those other Phoenixes were building other items before Hex?
Well, how many of those were also Evoca? Got to think about this next, Roshan. If you can try and fight it here.
Still, I mean,
you'll have your Conda on the Luna too. I mean, this has got to be a team fight, right? The Hex, the BKBs, the Conda, like, it's all online. You have your big ultimates. You're almost level 20 on the Luna too. You're closing in on Void Spirit Ags as well. I don't know if you're going to have that for when this next skirmish breaks out, but like, this is as good as it gets for G2.iG in the next minute or two here.
They are all, yeah, they are not that far behind, and they have hit their timings. It's just like, we haven't seen anything good happen for them outside of not dying in certain situations. JT puts himself out there. They immediately jump on it, but it's a bait. G2.iG are going to try and follow this one. BKB goes off. If it was a bait, it wasn't a very successful one because Team Spirit, they managed to get out of this situation. Now they can focus back to JT, who is stuck inside this arena with no help coming from G2.iG. Not a single BKB has been used for a good fight just yet. An arrow came a little close, sets it up. Wait, side turn around, they're going for it. The Eclipse goes out, but BKB, they turn around, kill the egg, no problem. No follow-up disables from G2.iG, and now they are going to be caught. A Spirit Tornado Terrorize coming out, does hit the tree. Nothing else, they're going to chase after that tree, see if they can get up. Nice shards from Maposhka. Man doesn't miss, tries to hit the Overgrowth, knocked up in the air, tries again, gets it off. No, the snowball dodged the Overgrowth. What a play from Maposhka. Keeps his team up and ready to hit as they slaying, nothing to say. He's down and out with 4 heroes gone. Team Spirit went from a simple pickoff to 4 in a row to take maybe a full lane of barracks.
Oh, what G2.iG would have done to land an Overgrowth during that egg.
And a 5th pickoff to go.
Oh,
G2.iG, you went from staying alive in this game to, I mean, this is looking a little hopeless now.
Just so many small things going right for Team Spirit and playing the fight super patient, willing to bait out these BKBs, poke until they get some response and back up. This is a type of team fight execution that gets you deep in lands right now, and G2.iG just don't have an answer. There's no easy opening for them. I would love to see that fight again as well, because I don't know if the blink for X-Nova was just on cooldown or what, but when you went in with that Hex egg onto the Mirana, that's in theory not a bad situation because you still have this Overgrowth. But like we see here, the poke is just, you have to commit your BKB or you're just perma-stun from JT. There's no force staffs or anything to bail him out. So once you're there, you're just locked in and there's no help.
Yeah, now it feels like you need not just BKB on Primal Beast, but Blink Tech for hard initiation. Otherwise, it seems like Team Spirit is constantly kiting you. We'll see this play now. Scythe.
Oh, he got
caught in the bramble. Mira caught him in the bramble, and that
brutal.
stops the Overgrowth, so no save.
Yeah, that's actually so brutal right there. But just a sick position from Mira on the side. I mean, the Spirit supports did some work in this fight to prevent a big turnaround from G2.iG.
And look at this. Knocks him up in the air. He knows the Overgrowth is coming. Snowballs.
Just nothing going their way.
Nothing.
So that'll be Roshan for Spirit here. An Aegis on Radon as he works towards a Lincoln Sphere. Another defensive item for the Mirana, but Cyril's universal, so no cares.
Yeah, and he's also hitting his big damage talents. The 15 talent, super important. Then you hit the 20 talent. Oh, it feels so good. Free crit.
I mean, honestly, Cyril's level 25 is not bad either.
No.
Very favored at this point. It's going to need to be some sick teamfight execution.
Ooh, Tornado. Aim for nothing to say. Still hit X-Nova. Because the invisibility, he is still going to be able to get out. And now another bit of initiation. Man, the mobility is just off the charts for Team Spirit. But now we have a blink for the Primal Beast. So now he can BKB, blink, and grab somebody. Maybe finally force Team Spirit into an honest brawl rather than this kiting that's always happening.
It just has to be Monet with the damage. Like, it's so much of your damage at this point. So if you jump in with these cores, the Luna has to be there with you.
Careful there. And Manta won't protect you, as we saw from the last fight. When he got caught in a bramble, he had a Manta, and Radon was very quick in catching him on the Gleipnir immediately afterwards. These pokes from G2.iG are not the same as what Team Spirit can employ.
Nope. This is a tough Miranda to jump. 3 minutes left on the Aegis. And Scepter's to back him up.
Look at that. Oh, the damage. Drinking buddies, Alacrity. Doesn't even need Solar Flare right now. He's holding that for the honest team fight, which may never come at this point in time, as G2.iG is struggling to find the initiation, but they're the ones who get initiated on. Collapse makes a complete read of the situation, and JT is forced to give up on that wraparound.
So much for your flank. You're gonna have to take it straight up right now. And who do you want to jump? The Axe gets delivered for NTS. A bit more damage.
They need a way to be able to get through this Linken's, but even then it's an Aegis.
Have to find this Invoker or supports. Radon is not a target I think you can just commit on here. I mean, they just look like they don't know what to do.
Yeah, they're gonna try again. And nothing comes of it. Elena Barracks with nothing gained for G2.iG.
And you see the calls on the map. I mean, this is one more lane. Let's just walk it down. We still got 2 minutes on this Aegis. They didn't do anything there. Are they gonna do anything in the top?
G2.iG, is there any more smokes for them to play with? They're gonna get, whoa! Oh, no! Wait! Is Team Spirit gonna, oh no. They can't even finish off that Tormentor. Look at them, they're trying to Sunstrike somebody near the Tormentor, but they've already given up on that. They realize that G2.iG is too weak to kill a Tormentor, and they've got 30 seconds with no Treant Protector.
No buyback, 300 gold short.
They're gonna smoke straight to the base. Walrus is a 4 versus 5. And there's the hit. Go straight to the Luna. Walrus punch into Terrorize. A chain stun that takes him out of the game. He instantly buys back. The egg, it's dead as well. No disables to be able to stop this one. An arena that pins and catches JT, as well as nothing to say. Monet's just gonna run in. BKB Eclipse. Hope for the best, but there is nothing you're gonna get out of this. An absolutely picture-perfect execution from Team Spirit. Nobody dies. Nobody comes close to dying.
That is about as one-sided of a game you're going to get between